Hi, welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel. Today I'm going to continue, I think this is the conclusion maybe, of my kind of tutorial series on the Tome of Adventure Design, revised edition by Matt Finch of Mythmere Games. I'm actually going to change my lighting here to see if I can get it to show up a little bit better. Ooh. Yeah. Fancy. It is, as this winds down, I gotta say, going through this book has been a real joy. It is a beautiful artifact, and I just feel super lucky to be to have it, and to be able to have it. And I think I owe a lot of that luck to you, my audience, anybody who's watching these videos. If it wasn't for YouTube and this channel and the people who have kind of supported Watcher DM along the way, I wouldn't have got this book. I wouldn't have started delving into it. So, yeah, I just, the journey into this kind of stuff has been, propped up by your awesome support. So I thank you for it. And yeah, with that in mind, if you would like to support this, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, bell icon for notifications, and then if you want to get these a week early, you can go to the Patreon and sign up for the for a paid Patreon tier. You'll get these a week early, and a bunch of other just stuff that I've made that isn't available anywhere else. That's that. Let's dive in. Today we are doing Wilderness Adventures. Which starts with, it's kind of got its own subparts. So we've got part one, general wilderness tables. And so we get like unusual trees, unusual plants, unusual feature of animal, unusual feature. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is continuation of that. We get some animal wounds table. And then we start going into like weird terrain and stuff. Caravans and cargo. Which is really interesting that that's in the wilderness section, but I guess it kind of makes sense. And then it starts going into like desert wilderness table. So I think, maybe this isn't the conclusion. We'll see how far we can get here. Because I think desert goes for a bit, and then it goes into forest. And forest just really short. Yeah, okay, and then hills and mountains. And then swamps. They're pretty short. Let's see if we can just do it. Let's see if we can just go, So, all we're going to do here is we're going to roll on some of these tables to see what comes out of it, and see if we can kind of stitch something cool together. So, we're going to put at the top here, wilderness tables. And then we're going to roll. We got a 44 for unusual trees. And that is trees that meld together at the branches or roots. Trees that meld together. Now, I think what this means is like trees that when they touch each other at the branch level or at the root level, they join to become one tree. And so you might have like a forest that is all one organism, which I like. I like that idea. I think that's kind of how cedars work. And lots of mycelial networks work that way in the real world. I also wonder if it's the case that like touching a branch melds you into the branch. So like, or maybe even kind of like Scavenger's Reign, where it takes some of your DNA and starts growing U-shaped fruit. We had there was a similar idea in one of Austin's recent adventures for the Iron DM competition, where this fruitful ground could kind of grow anything, and it would start growing clones of the PCs. So pretty cool idea, I think, wrapped up in there. Let's check out some unusual plants. We got the 16. Oh, I guess I should probably write here that I got the 44. So we got 16, which is just on the other page. One thing I'll say about big, thick books like this that can be a little tricky is they don't really sit flat on the table. So it can be pretty difficult, and you feel like you're straining the book when you do that, which is unfortunate. It's kind of a cost of the artifact, I guess. But this might be something you'd want to do in the PDF. Okay, so we got plant parts as branches. And then there's a second part, odd attributes. So we got 61, which is hilarious because that's my inversion trick. Have minor healing properties. Now, I'm wondering if you could easily merge these two ideas together. So the trees have branches that meld with your skin and can like seal wounds, maybe doing like a minor healing, which would be kind of cool. Like, yeah, that'd be pretty weird. All right, so unusual animal features. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that title here. Unusual animal features. And I think this is going to be a couple. Oh, maybe it's not. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. 55. Man, we're rolling a lot of doubles today. I love that. It'd be a good day for Mothership, or a very bad day. 55. Odd blue or red color. Okay. That, I mean, I guess that's interesting. Let's roll again, see if we got something else more interesting. So 04, that's albino. Yeah, I don't think that's super crazy. If we swap that for 40, made of rock or earth, that's a little wild. Sick, rabbit, or diseased. Spirit animal or appears to be. Okay. That's funny. Tentacles, tendrils, crabs, crab claws, shell, or chitin, which could all be, normal for certain animals. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that they put that on here. Love me some two-headed animals. Wings of a bat or bird is always good. And then we get wounded. So this is actually, I did want to roll on the wounded table. So we're going to go ahead and... Whoop, oh my gosh. I'm throwing my dice like a crazy person. Save the dice. Okay, so we're going to roll on the wounds here. And we're going to go for 17. And 17 on the wounds. It's just burned, scorched, or melted. Burned, scorched, or melted. Okay, so unusual animal features. I like to apply this to a normal animal. So imagine red crows that are maybe not burned or scorched, but burning. Like they're literally on fire and they're red hot from it. That could be crazy. So, yeah, okay, interesting. All right, let's do some weird terrain. So go weird terrain features, and let's roll it. We got a 2. So underlying feature type is flame. Interesting. And then the weird feature is 29. Interesting. So 29 is human-like shape. So the way that I would interpret this is like fires that burn on the ghostly plains take the form of lost loved ones, their arms reaching for those taking comfort in the warmth of the fire. Occasionally, they are charmed into reaching for their loved ones back and being consumed in the flames, right? That would be a sick way to apply those ideas. But I'm seeing a lot of cool stuff on here. I think this could be really, really interesting. All right, let's do us a caravan and cargo. So we'll go caravan and cargo. And let's roll for so this is the contents, organization, and mode of transport. So contents, we got a 53, which is 2 regular cargoes and 2 small cargoes. So 2 reg and 2 small. Organization will be 58. Org 58. And that is members of a merchant guild, with the rest of the caravan being employees of the guild. So, merchant guild members plus employees. Okay. And then, let's say transport. 32. 32 horse-drawn wagons. Okay. Let's see what else is on this list here. I want to see. So I like levitating platforms towed by ogres or other large creatures. Sounds cool. Mules or horses as pack animals. Flightless birds pull wagons is cool. Dinosaurs or lizards. Camels. Ox-drawn wagons, or possibly huge wagons drawn by giant yaks. Could be neat. Single, massive, almost castle-like wagon with crenellated top and heavily armored beasts pull it, such as land sharks, giant beetles, etc. Ooh, okay. Human bearers could be interesting too. So I think this is an interesting collection of ideas here. I don't think it's the most amazing collection of ideas, but not every paper needs to be an A. I think there's some good value here. So let's do our regular cargo 1, which we rolled a 50. And I'm going to do regular cargo 2, which is 23. And then we'll go for small 1 and small 2. So 75 and 79. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I think almost everything's on the next page. Wow, regular cargo. It looks like this table goes quite a ways here. So 50 is going to be down here. Oh, interesting. So it's got different cultures here. I like this. This is an interesting way of doing it. So, okay, so we have European cultures, we have desert Middle Eastern cultures, and we have Asian cultures. So in the 50, we might have iron or tin, we might have incense, or we might have light cloth. So let's mix some things up here. I want to do light cloth. And then for 23... dyes, and fish. I think dyes applies to our to our cloth load. And then for 75, we get salt, rope, and rice. So let's do rope. And then for 79, we get sugar or sugar plants, sesame seeds, or rice wine. Oh, whoa, hold on. Wrong table. I'm looking at the wrong table. We got to go look at the small cargo. Here we go. Okay, so 75 is seeds or silk. So I think silk is appropriate for our little nerds here. And then, yeah, I think 79 is silver. So what I'm getting out of this is a horse-drawn wagon from a textile merchants guild that carries light cloths like muslin, silk, dyes for dyeing those silks and cloths when they arrive, or just selling the dye materials, and then silver. I'm going to say this will be silver thread, right? So they've actually spun it into thread, or made thread out of it, such that they can do some cool stuff. Now I'm seeing here a magical cargo table that I'm wondering how we get to that table. It must be... one regular cargo and 2 small cargo. But I don't see anything on here that says magical cargo. So maybe on the regular cargo table... yeah, I don't see anything there either. And then on the small cargo table, magical cargo. I see. Let's roll a magical cargo. I just want to see what we roll. 31. Large and fragile framework, lattice, etc. See, that would be really cool if they had like a loom, right? And like, I think one of the concepts that I've always kind of had with fantasy is that like super powerful technologies like the loom probably were considered magic until they were like, by most laymen, they would just be considered magic until they understood them. And I think, we take it for granted that like with access to books and the internet and just the proliferation of knowledge, fidelity, and access over the last like couple centuries, we take it for granted that like these things are knowable to just be how the world is. But like the loom is an incredible piece of technology. It is literally whiz-biz. So I like that they maybe have a loom, or maybe this just implies that they come from a place with a loom, which I really like. Okay, let's see. So we're at 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes. I think, gosh, I feel like maybe we can get into the desert wilderness tables in another go. No, let's do it. Let's just go. Let's just go do this. I want to move on to the book of world building. I think that I'm really excited to get onto that series. So let's do this. Let's do desert, wilderness, tables. And types of deserts. So we're going to go for 62. Oh, you know what? Okay, crazy. So it doesn't even have... This isn't even a rollable table. This is just like a pick a thing. So you have coastal deserts, you have mid-latitude deserts, monsoon deserts, montane deserts, and then polar deserts, rain shadow deserts. Oh, interesting. I think this is what happens in Nevada a lot, in California. You get some rain shadow deserts off of the mountains. Trade wind deserts. Interesting. Deserts are actually a lot more interesting than the featureless sea of sand many people think of. There are several different types of deserts, and they are populated with an extraordinary variety of plant and animal life, although more sparsely than the more hospitable terrain types. One particular thing to keep in mind about deserts is that the sand moves constantly as a result of wind currents. You can always use the adventure hook of something interesting that has been recently uncovered by the winds. It's funny that they say there's lots of different kinds of deserts, but also if you're using sandy deserts, this is a thing you can use. Because, like, yeah, there are lots of deserts with that aren't necessarily sandy, right? It's interesting. All right, desert. Oh gosh, it just goes on and on. Does this go on and on? Area? No, this is desert map features. This is its own thing. Okay, so it's just using some words here to describe some different wadi. Stream beds left by flash flooding or ephemeral streams. During torrential desert rain, they can be extremely dangerous. Interesting. So these are just kind of like things you might say, right? These are like features you can add to a desert. But I like that they're not rolled. It's just like kind of encouraging you to just think about it and place interesting things. But we did roll a die here. I want to use it. So we got a 62. So in this desert, we have found the Lost. And another 62. Double 62s. 62, 62. The Lost Sands. Meh. What's 26? The Lost God. Well, can't beat that. Not with a stick. Then it says build an interesting oasis. So the oasis is going to have 97, 28, 51. So we'll say oasis. 97, 28, 51. And let's check this table here. So feature is water. 28 for interesting aspect of feature. Blue. So, okay, blue water. Surprise, surprise. And then 51, militant religious zealots. That's interesting. What else do we have here? Bandits, Jinn, Efreet, idol of a god or demigod, merchants, nomads, nun, religious exiles, and water creature. I like water creature. That'd be really interesting to have a water creature living out here in the desert. All right, we got some desert dressing tables here. Let's look at 49. Is a rodent warren, prairie dogs, meerkats, jackrabbits, and jumping rats. Yeah. Jumping rat warren. What was that? 49. Unusual sands. Let's see what we get for this. 68. Patterns of color striated. 68. Okay. Desert animal table. Oops. 41. Small lizard. I'm not even going to write that down. Obviously, there's small lizards in the desert. Okay. Now I think we're going to call it here. We're going to do the next. We're going to do the forest and the hills and mountains and swamps in the next and final video of the series. So I'm going to put my bookmark in here. My next card, empty. We're able to explore some cool ideas in this video, I think. I think this is there's some interesting stuff here. I really like this textile caravan. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll get some more really cool stuff out of this before we seal this book up and close her for good. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please hit the like button. And, yeah, subscribe if you want to subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for playing.